Now, dear students, see in lesson number 7, that is rotational motion, system of particles and rotational motion. Last time we completed the theory part. Okay, we discussed about principle of lever and example based on that. Now, today we go for the exercise numericals. See, first we'll try to take up the examples which have calculation part, and then we'll go for the theoretical question. Now see, exercise sum number 7.1. Okay, now see the HCl molecule, hydrogen and chlorine, H and Cl. Okay, now see the distance between them is given as 1.27 angstrom. Now we see, we are familiar with the angstrom. 1 angstrom is 10 to the power minus 10 meter. See, we have to find out the center of mass. Okay, we have to find out the center of mass. Now see, we see is a two particle system. Okay, now see the center of a two particle system generally we consider in one dimension, and see the center of mass of such a systems lies on the line joining the two. So let us say we assume that hydrogen is at the origin. So x1 we say is 0, x2 we say it is 1.27 angstrom. Now see mass of the first particle, hydrogen mass is m. See the chlorine mass is 35.5 times m. Okay, whatever that is given to us. Now two particle system, you can write in terms of r or x, no problem, but generally when we have one dimensional system we call as x. So the center of mass xcm will be m1 x1 plus m2 x2 upon m1 plus m. Okay, now m1 is x1 is how much? 0. 35.5 amps. x2 is a 1 point m plus. Okay, so here what we can see, m will be cancelled, and if we solve it will be 1.235 angstrom. Okay, this is a case of one dimensional system, say hydrogen chlorine particle separated by 1.27 angstrom. So this is about the exercise sum number 7.1. Now see, next is exercise sum number 7.4. Okay, now see, we have to prove that, see the area of the triangle formed, let us say A vector and B vector at angle theta. We complete the triangle. Okay, we have to prove that area of the triangle is, let us say, triangle PQR. Okay, area of triangle PQR is, we have to show that half of the product of vector having the magnitude of A and B. Now let us say the terminology A and B are the given vector. See, this we have to prove. Okay, half of the magnitude of product of vector A and B. Now see, let us say our PR is vector A and PQ is vector B. Now what is the formula for the area of the triangle? See, half into base into height. So from Q, if I drop a perpendicular M on PR, on that is vector A. See, now this is a QM is a height H. Okay. Now here area of the triangle is half into base into height. See, our base is PR is magnitude of A. Now see the angle between vector A and B is theta. Angle between vector A and B is theta. Now see in triangle PQM, okay, sin theta is PM upon PQ. Okay, sin theta. PM is height H, PQ is a magnitude of the vector B. So H is equal to B sin theta. Okay. Now area of the triangle PQR is 1 by 2 base into height. Okay. Area of the triangle is half into base into height. Base is PR and height is QM. Now see, PR is nothing vector A and QM. Okay, here we should have QM. See, triangle PQM, we have seen sin theta is QM upon. See, the side opposite to 90 degree will be hypotenuse. Okay, so QM is our H. H is B sin theta. Okay, now this we can write is AB sin theta. Okay, now AB sin theta is a magnitude of vector product of A and B. So area of the triangle PQR is nothing but half. See, AB sin theta is a magnitude of, this is showing the magnitude. AB sin theta represent the cross product or vector product of A and B. So this is how we can prove that area of the triangle from PQR is equal to half of the magnitude of the vector product of A and B. So this is about exercise sum number 7.4. Now see, next is our example number 7.5. See, we have to prove that for vector A, B and C, A dot B cross C is equal to the volume of the paraboloid formed by the vector A, B and C. Now let us say we consider the arrangement like this. OA is a represent vector A. See, the side OB is B and OC is C. Now see, recall the property of the vector product. Now let us say B cross C. Okay. See, the resultant of vector product of B and C. Now we see that B and C are perpendicular to each other. Okay. So it will be BC sin 90, and the resultant of this will be perpendicular to plane formed by the vector B and C. So it is a direction, OA is a direction which is perpendicular to plane formed by the vector B and C, and n caret is a unit vector in this direction. So this will get us the value of B cross C. Okay. Now what we can see, the unit vector of B cross C is a resultant, it is in direction of OA, that is vector A. Now we know the volume is area into height. Okay. Now this B cross C is the area. Now see, vector A dot B cross C, area, this is area and this is the height. Let us say OA is the height. Okay. Now suppose we take scalar product of this, A and resultant of B cross C are in the same direction. Okay. So what is angle between them? 0. And what is scalar product A, B, let us say x dot y is xy cos theta. For simplicity, let us say we consider x as vector A and y is our B cross C. What we can see, A and B cross C. See, this is a n caret is a resultant of B cross C. N caret is a unit vector of the resultant formed by B and C. They are in the same direction. So we can say they are in the angle between them is 0. So A dot B cross C. Okay. If I take cos 0 is 1. So this is how our A dot B cross C will give the volume of the paraboloid formed by the vector A, B and C. What we have considered, OA is vector A, OB is vector B, OC is vector C. Now what we have done, see, we have performed first the vector product B and C, that is OC and OB. Now the resultant of OB and OC, that is a property of the vector product, will be perpendicular to the plane formed by vector B and C. This will be in OA direction. Now see, the n caret we have taken unit vector of the resultant vector. Now we take the scalar product of A and resultant of B cross C. So we know the area into height is a volume. So when we take the dot product of vector A and resultant of B cross C, see that will give us the volume of the paraboloid formed by the given vectors. So that is nothing but example number 7.5. Now see, next is example number 7.6. See, here we have to find out the angular momentum of a particle which has a position vector. Okay, and the momentum is given as pxi plus okay. See, we have to obtain the angular momentum of a particle which has a position vector xi plus yj plus zk, and see the linear momentum is this. Now we also have to show that if particle moves in xy plane, then the angular momentum has only z component. Okay, we have to show that if the particle moves in xy plane, see the angular momentum has only z component. Now see angular momentum is a vector product of r and p. We can write I, j, k. See the position vector has coordinate x, y, z. So we can write x, y and z. See the component will be px, py and pz. Now if we simplify, I caret into y, pz, right diagonal minus left diagonal, minus j, see, get x, pz, z, py, and j caret, okay, x, py. Now let us see again. See, when we write x component, see we have to consider this cofactor. Okay, that is right diagonal minus left diagonal, y, pz minus z, py. Similarly, when we write z component, y component, okay, we have to consider cofactor. This will be x, pz minus z, px. And when we write for the z component, okay, see, it will be x into py minus y into px. Okay. Now, see the particle moves. This is about the angular momentum of the particle. Okay. If particle moves in xy plane, okay, so in that case z is 0 and pz is 0. Okay. Why? Particle moves okay. Now in that case z we have to take 0, okay, and pz we have to 0. Okay. Here also, this also will be 0. Okay, here I should write k caret. So what we see, out of the 6 terms, 4 will become 0. Let us say 3, these 2 will become 0. So in that case, see the angular momentum L will put k caret x py minus y px. Okay, so this is about the exercise number 7.6, where we have to find out the angular momentum of a particle with the position vector r and momentum p has component px, py and pz. So that is nothing but exercise number 7.6. Now see, next is our exercise number 7.7. See the question says it is a 2 particle system. See the mass m1 move with the velocity v and mass m2 moves the velocity v2, or also both particle mass is same. Okay, so we have to prove that angular momentum do not depend on the position, okay, of the or the reference point. Now see angular momentum of a two particle system here, m1 and m2. See L is equal to, we can write L1 plus L2, that is R1 cross P1, R2 cross P. See R is a perpendicular distance. Now see the first particle, see the moves in the negative y direction, position vector is x. See this is a perpendicular distance, so it will be x into momentum is minus mv. Now see x and y it is given, so it will be in I cross j. Okay, now this is a vector. Now next we have to show that second particle plus, what is the distance here, x plus d. See again it is mv. Okay, it is in, see velocity vector is in the negative direction, that we have to show here, and here it will be x plus d. Now it is in y direction, so it will be I cross j. Okay, now if I simplify mv, okay, x is there, I cross j, recall the property. Okay, I cross j is k, but here it will be minus k caret. Okay, and here x plus d, I cross j is k caret. Okay, now see if I simplify mv, see k caret I have taken common, minus x plus d. Okay, now see nowhere in the resultant angular momentum x is coming. See the angular momentum is in the z direction, but here nowhere the position is coming. So for this two particle system moving in mutually opposite direction, see the angular momentum of this two particle system do not depend on the position or the origin. So this is how we can prove this. That is our exercise sum number 7.7. See here, it is a two particle system, two particle of same mass moving in mutually opposite direction with reference to origin at a distance of x and x plus d respectively. We have to prove that angular momentum do not depend on the position. Okay, so it is r1 cross p1 plus r2 cross p2. R is a distance, that is x here. Okay, and see the velocity is a vector quantity. See this x is I caret, okay, and minus mv, I have shown minus j. So to get only the vector product m and v I have separately, and x, so it is I cross j will be minus k. See because of the negative sign. See for the second particle of the mass m and the velocity v, mv, that will be in, see x plus d is in the, shows the direction, and it is in positive y direction, so that's why it is j. Now see I cross j is k. Now if I simplify this, mv I have taken common, x minus k caret, x plus d and k caret. Now see x, for our easy work we have taken x, k caret is common, so it will be minus x plus d. So what is this, negative x and positive x is cancelled. So what we guess, mvd is the magnitude of the angular momentum, that is in z direction, and nowhere in this resultant angular momentum origin is coming. So we can show that the angular momentum do not depend on the position or the origin with respect to which we have calculated the angular momentum. So this is our exercise sum number 7.7. Now see, next is exercise sum number 7.8. Now see a rod of weight W is suspended like this from two ends. Okay, now see the end makes an angle of, here it is 36.9 degree angle, and here it is 53.1. Okay, now see it is suspended from the both end. We have to calculate where the center of gravity of this rod will be located from end A. Okay, now AB is our rod. Okay, W is the weight of the rod. Okay, now we have to calculate from at what distance from A, let us say distance D from the end A. See, the center of gravity is located. So we assume like this, let center of gravity is located at a distance D from end A of the rod. Now see here the rod is in equilibrium. A rod is in equilibrium. So first we consider the linear equilibrium, that is translational equilibrium, and then we will consider the rotational equilibrium. Now see here, this angle is 36.9. Okay, this angle, okay, let us say point A. This angle is 36.9, that is given to us. So this angle, it is a right angle triangle, 53.1. Okay, this is point end A. Now for rod B and B, this angle is given as 53.1. Again, it is a right angle triangle. Okay, so this angle will be 36.9. Now see in the AM is the end, let us say, tension we call as T1 that I have shown here. And this is BN I am showing. See, let us say tension is T2. Okay, if we consider these two triangle, keep in mind, okay, then work will be easy for you. Then our work will be easy. Now, see, this is the geometry of the figure, we have to understand well. Now see what is the tension T1. See the angle with the horizontal, let us say x-axis we consider. So what this component will be T1 cos 53 and this will be T1 sin 53. Here angle is 36.9 that I have shown you. Okay, so the cos 36.9 and vertical component T2 sin 36.9. So this is how we can consider the component of the force or tension. Now see here T1, first we consider translational equilibrium. Now this will be upward force with sin 30, T1 sin plus T2 sin 36.9. Now see all these forces on the rod I have shown here again. See, now weight is in downward direction. Okay. Now let us say the weight that is acted as center of gravity. Let us say it is a distance of D from the end A. Now suppose I consider the linear equilibrium or a translational equilibrium. See, upward force should be equal to downward force T1 sin 53.1 plus T2 sin 36.9 should be equal to downward force. Now sin 53.1, see, for easy calculation I have taken 4 by 5. T2 sin 36.9 is 3 by 5 is W. So what I can write is 4T1 plus 3T2 is 5W. Okay, now we can calculating torque about point A. Now okay, we calculate torque about point A. Now see this T1 sin 31 and T1 cos passes through A, the torque will be 0. Okay, now see the weight is located at distance of D, so it will be W into D. Now this A is a fulcrum, this will try to move in the anti-clockwise torque. that we consider as negative, that is minus W into D. Okay. Now plus A sine 31 T2 sine 36.9. See, the distance from A is total distance is given as 2 meter. Okay, and because it is rotational equilibrium, torque is 0. Now see WD plus T2 sine 36.9 is 3 by 5 into 2 is equal to 0. Okay, so T2 into 6 by 5 is WD. Okay, T2 into 6 by 5 is WD. Okay, now, okay, if we consider equilibrium of the horizontal forces, okay, equilibrium of horizontal forces, we can take T1 cos 53.1 should be equal to T2 cos. Okay, now see cos 53 is sine 36, that is T1 into 6 by 5, sorry 3 by 5 should be equal to T2 into cos 36.9 4 by 5. So this is 3T1 is equal to 4T2. Okay, this is 3T1 is equal to 4T2. Okay, now so T1 will be 4T2 by 3. Now if I substitute here, okay, if I substitute, okay, T1 is equal to 4T2 by 3. Okay, T2 into 4 by 5 plus 3 by 5 T2 is W. Okay, now T1 value is 4 T2 by 3. I have substituted 4 by 5 as it is, plus 3 by 2 5 T2 is W. Now see, if you solve, it is 16 by 15 T2 plus 3 by 5 T2 is W. Okay, now T2 we can take common, 16 upon 15 plus 3 by 5 is W. Okay. Now our one more equation is, okay, T2 15 is LCM, so 4 upon 16 into 1, 15 upon 15 will be 1, plus 3, 15 upon 5 is 3 is equal to W. Okay, now 16 plus 9, T2 is 15 W upon 25. Okay, now this T2 I substitute here, 15 upon 25 W into 6 by 5 is WD. So W will get cancelled. Okay, so D value will get as 90 divided by 125. Okay. Okay, I feel this is rather easy method of calculating center of gravity. So this is how we can calculate the distance D of the center of gravity. Now see our next example. Okay, that is example number 7.9. Now see, the weight of the car is 1800 kg. Now see the two axles, front and rear axle, okay, are distance of 1.8 meter. Okay, the front and the rear axles are at a distance of 1.8 meter. See the center of gravity that is G, okay, it is at a distance of 1.05 meter from the front axle. Center of gravity is at distance of 1.50 meter from front axle. So from the rear axle, it will be 1.8 minus 1.05, that is 0.75. Now what we have to see, the force exerted by each wheel. Now see, in front end there will be two wheels, on the rear axle there will be two. Okay, now let us say the reaction of this wheel, front wheel, is, let us say R1 two wheel together and two wheel from the back together is R2. Now see, if I consider linear equilibrium, so R1 plus R2 is in the upward direction, W is in the downward direction. See, R1 plus R2 is mg. Mass is 1800, G is 9.8. Okay, now this 1800 into 9.8 will be 17. Now see, G is the center of gravity, which is at a distance of 1.05. See, if I consider okay, now this is 1.8 yes. Let us say this is 1.8 and this is 1.05. So what will be this? Center of gravity will be at 0.75. See, the reaction R2 is at 0.725 meter, R2 into point. So we consider taking moment about center of gravity. A, that is 0.75 into R2 is 1.05 R1. 75 by 100, R2 is 105 upon 100 into R1. Okay, so R2 is equal to 105 upon 75 R1. Now see, both are multiple of 5, 21 by 15 R1. Okay, now see, our equation is there, R1 plus R2 is 17640 Newton. R1 is 21, R2 is okay, R1 plus 105 okay. Now if we simplify, plus 21 is 36. Okay, now see, that will get us value of 15 into okay 7350 Newton. Okay, now see the force on each wheel. Okay, that turns out to be 63. Okay, now R2 we have to calculate. R1 plus R2 is given. Okay, R1 we have got 7350. So R2 value will get so force on each back wheel, rear wheel, okay, divided by okay. So this is how we can calculate the force on each front wheel and force on each rear wheel. Okay, so this is about exercise sum number 7.9. Okay, now see rest of the example exercise numerical will solve next time. Thank you.